Have you noticed that we've spent decades trying to get better information into the 911 center? But now we're finally starting to push intelligence out into the field before anyone even gets there. But what happens when that first unit on scene isn't a person? Because the new model is not to wait for sirens to arrive before we get to understand the emergency. We're able to send eyes ahead of them because in public safety, seconds matter, but context matters even more. And that's coming up next on TiPS Today in Public Safety.
Welcome to TiPS Today in Public Safety, your go-to podcast for today's breaking stories in public safety news. Here's your host, Fletch, with today's tips.
Welcome to TiPS Today in Public Safety. This is Fletch. I'm a NEMA certified ENP, and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I bring you the latest, most informative, and sometimes controversial takes on emergency communications. Today we're going to take a look from above into something that might sound futuristic, but actually is already happening. A school district that's partnering with a local police department is deploying a drone as a first responder. But what's really important is what that unlocks next. Active threats, the information gap. Let's talk about one of the hardest scenarios, active shooters. We've all seen them. Conflicting caller reports, incomplete location data, and total chaos in the first 3 to 5 minutes. Responders going in with partial information is dangerous. The gap, that first few minutes, is where the risks live. But now imagine this. A drone gets airborne within 30 to 60 seconds after the call. It's overhead the scene in under 2 minutes. That gives dispatchers real-time video, movement patterns, visibility of the entries and exits, and general crowd behavior. And it's that information that changes everything. Now your call taker is no longer just receiving information, they're validating it. And that right there reduces the chaos. Introducing ASA, Aerial Situational Awareness. Now let me take this one step further because this is where it gets interesting. Plus, our industry is running desperately short of acronyms. Let me introduce this concept. Aerial Situational Awareness, ASA. Right now, drones can give us eyes, but what if the environment could talk back? Picture this. Every school has a simple rooftop beacon system. Green, yellow, and red. Normal operations, elevated concerns, and an active threat. Not complicated, not expensive, and not over-engineered. Just high visibility signals that get tied into the school's existing internal emergency systems. Now, couple that with a drone from above. While that drone is still a considerable distance away and too far to interpret human behavior, it's able to see the beacon. That's instantaneous visual context. No guessing, no conflicting caller descriptions, just additional visual confirmation, immediate classification, which enables faster decision making. That's ASA, and I think it's simple enough that it actually checks all the boxes on what works. Why this matters to the PSAP. So let's bring this back into the PSAP because that's where everything converges. We're always talking about more data coming into Next-Gen 911. But the common problem is more data without structure is just noise. The ASA concept flips that. It's not just more data, it's pre-validated context because your call taker can now see drone video and beacon status, as well as the caller input. That allows them to escalate faster when it's real, de-escalate when there's a question that it's not, and route resources more intelligently. And here's the key. You're actually reducing cognitive load, not increasing it, because the system helps answer the question, is it real? Reality check. Okay, let's run this through the Fletch BS detection system. First, proof. Drone programs? Real. They're proven, and agencies all over are expanding quickly. Second is operational sustainability. Is it hard to install a simple beacon that gets tied to existing alerting? Yeah, not a moonshot by all means. Third is impact on the call takers. Does this make their job easier? Absolutely, but only if it's integrated correctly. Here's the risk. If you just dump drone video, IoT alerts, and beacon signals into 3 different screens, you just made things worse. And fourth, what's the net value? This concept would only work if it's integrated, standardized, and presented cleanly. Otherwise, it's just another blinking light that no one's going to trust. And I think the industry has got enough of those already. The bottom line, drones as first responders aren't the story anymore. They're the platform. The real story is this: how do we create immediate, trustworthy context before first responders arrive? Aerial situational awareness is one answer. Simple signals, visible indicators, and validation early. Because if the drone is the first one on scene, it shouldn't have to guess what it's looking at. And that wraps up today's episode of TiPS, Today in Public Safety. Thanks so much for listening. For more updates and insights, follow me on social media at Fletch911. And you can visit 911tips.com for a complete archive of our previous episodes. My blogs are available online at Fletch.tv, and my professional website is at Fletch911.com. Stay safe. Thanks so much for listening. And if you're in public safety, thanks for what you do every single day. We'll catch you next time. Take care.
You've been listening to TiPS, Today in Public Safety, your go-to podcast for today's breaking stories and public safety news. Hosted by Fletch and available every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Catch past episodes on 911tips.com. Be sure to like and subscribe, and remember to join us each week for the latest on NG 911. I am Spider Harrison, the official 911 voiceover dude. Catch me on Sirius XM on various channels, including 90s on 9, the 10 spot, and on the Weekend Countdown on Hits 1. Or don't regret for the rest of your life. Either way, I'm good.